Kicking it off this month, we have a standard patch week. If you missed it, Jagex celebrated April Fool's in-game with the new bench sitting skill, including a cosmetic level 99 cape for the fake skill. If you participated, it was pretty funny and a nice callback to April Fools of RuneScape pasts. If you haven't done so, the Blooming Burrow is still around, active until April 8th, that is this year's Easter event, with a bunch of activities, Easter-themed quests, and a ton of cosmetics up for grabs. So once again, Blooming Burrow, Easter event, active until April 8th. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video so far, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet and you'd like to stay up to date on all things RuneScape related, then hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Now we're going to take a look at the patch notes, which is the big bulk of today's update. So let's check it out, starting off with Easter. Fixed an issue that would cause the Easter community hunt to not update the event interface if the in-game clock overlay was turned off. Sheep now appears in the correct magic offhand category in the wardrobe. Fixed an issue where the butterfly dervish emote could be bought even if it was already unlocked. Iron Man accounts will only receive spring token warning messages once per login session. Fixed an issue where Easter golden egg decorative poles were clipping into Lumbridge castle floor. The spring picnic skirt has been reshaped and made fuller, now closer to match to the mannequin wearing the outfit. The spring picnic outfit now has reduced cape clipping. The male version of the spring picnic outfit flowers no longer clips with the waistcoat and hat. And fixed an issue where objects dropped near maypoles were floating in the air. Moving on to some combat changes. Stat buff or stat debuff icons on the buff bar can now be toggled on or off via options in the settings interface. Adjusted Cerberus Juvenile's damage reduction to account for the new hit chance system shall now take 500 reduced damage for each tile away from the player, starting at 500, where previously it was 500 plus 500 for each tile away. Laniake's spear has been added to the attack skill guide for level 82. Fixed an issue that caused a split soul expiry sound effect to be played every time the player teleports. Amended some quest bosses to have their HP in Dominion Tower match their quest HP. Added the super necromancy potion to the Mazcab emergency merchants. Added in missing member only icons from the following necromancy abilities: Soul Sap, Soul Strike, Soul Volley, Conjure Undead Army. These abilities were always member only, but they are visually missing the icon in the requirements on the tooltip. Fixed an issue that caused Max to remain at level 138 combat. He's now 152 as intended. Fixed a typo with Ariane Wins dialogue when toggling the flurry mechanic on and off during the Art Glazor fight. And fixed an issue with Azure and Chaotic Berserk animation overrides displaying incorrectly. Moving on to Dungeons and Sewers, audio for Varrock Sewers, Edgeville Dungeon, and Polnevich Slayer Dungeon have been updated. The bronze arrows no longer appear on top of the stalagmites in the Edgeville Dungeon. Looking at Kandarin improvements, the gate no longer appears as two separate doors at the Beehive Farm east of Catherby. The blue plant no longer overlaps with the yew tree near Catherby. The bushes no longer clip through the wall of the pet shop in Yanel. The texture blending is now fixed for the pottery hut north of East Ardoin Castle. Remove the force walk tiles near the camel pen in Ardoin Zoo. The plank located near the barbarian outpost has been moved and can now be picked up. The shell clue is moved to the same spot as before near the lighthouse. Extended the road and added back bushes to the base of Eagle's Peak to better visually indicate a hard clue location. Next up, looking at some general fixes. Fixed an issue with the nature staff charges being used every time the Make X interface was opened. Load last preset options have been added to a range of banks. Bergerot repaired bank booth, both player-owned farm upgraded bank chests, the open Ooglog bank booth, player-owned ports bank boxes, the artisan workshop bank chest, and wilderness cape sellers. The music player tracks are now shown in the correct alphabetical order. Fixed overlapping text issues when searching for items with long names in the Grand Exchange. The central point light in the Wizard's Tower now matches the color of the central light beam. Added in a missing Slayer Master icon for Vanaka. The icon will now be visible on the world map and mini-map for the surface world and within Edgeville Dungeon. The Tannery map icon is no longer placed on Jack Oval and is now displayed on Tanya Hyde instead. Players can no longer teleport while being transmogrified into a salamander. Fixed an issue that caused the Tombstone Agility overhead animation to play when gaining Hunter XP. The number of rolls mentioned in the Commander Conad reward shop in the Barbarian Assault minigame now reflects the number of rolls available in the minigame. Fixed an issue that caused loot received by the looting perk to sometimes spawn out of walkable areas. And fixed an issue that blocked mobile players from checking contents of the compost bin. Lastly, we have some typo changes. Fixed a typo with Ali the Wise during the Battle of the Monolith quest. Fixed several misspellings of artifact in several locations. It now reads as artifact spelled with an E. Some incorrect information typos or inconsistencies in the examined text of perfect Juju flasks have been fixed. Fixed an issue in the mouse over text for the Ravenous Locust Scroll Famine. And finally added a missing full stop at the end of the examined text for Magical Thread. And that is it for your patch notes. Links to everything discussed in this video down in the description below. If you missed last week's episode, it will be on screen now. If not, I will see you in the next RuneScape news coverage video. And until then, I am out. Aloha.